let's go ahead and meet everyone that you're seeing, starting off with myself. My name's Brandon, and I am a senior in the School of Arts and Sciences, studying economics with a double minor in psychology and leadership skills. I'm a first-generation college student from Baltimore, Maryland, like I was saying. On campus, I'm a member of the Honors College. I've been a building operations manager at the Livingston Student Center. I'm currently a Scarlet Ambassador captain for undergraduate admissions. I've previously have had the opportunity to intern for undergraduate admissions within the communication and marketing team. For the past few summers, I've been interning for the Tennessee Valley Authority, where I'll be beginning full-time this upcoming May. On campus, I've had the opportunity to live on the College Avenue campus my first year, the Livingston campus my second year, and I've resided off campus College Avenue every year since. So I will be the host and moderator for our event today, but let's go ahead and meet everyone else you see on your call, starting off with our admissions officer, Kristen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. As Brandon mentioned, my name is Kristen Mulick. I am a New Brunswick-based admissions officer for Rutgers. I'm also a proud Rutgers New Brunswick graduate. So I'm so excited to share more about Rutgers with you. I'll be answering questions through the Q&A throughout the hour. So please feel free to drop those questions in the Q&A and welcome. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our family.
Exactly. Welcome to our house. So now that you've met Kristen, let's go ahead and meet some of the other ambassadors on the call, starting off with Natalie, who will be leading the Q&A session of our program. Natalie?
Thanks, Brandon. Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie. I'm a junior in the School of Arts and Sciences honors program, double majoring in computer science and psychology. I'm originally from Voorhees, New Jersey, which is in South Jersey, so I'm Team Pork Roll. I lived in a traditional residence hall on College Avenue campus during my first year, and I've resided off campus in the College Avenue area since then. On campus, I'm involved in both professional and social Greek life. I'm the vice president of Into the Light, a mental health advocacy organization on campus. I'm a member of Women in Computer Science and Data Science Society. I'm currently interning at a social media startup as a product manager. Last summer, I had the opportunity to intern as a software engineer at Prudential Financial. And this summer, I'm super excited to be interning as a technical program manager at NBC Universal.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Natalie. So let's go ahead and meet the two other ambassadors on the call that will be answering all of your questions in the Q&A. Let's start off with Kira.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kira, and I'm from Piscataway, New Jersey. I'm a junior in the Mason Gross School of the Arts and the Honors College, majoring in music performance with a double minor in organizational leadership and theater. Here at Rutgers, I have spent time living on the College Avenue campus as well as off campus near College Avenue. And some of my on-campus involvement includes being the president of the Mason Gross Student Governing Association and being a music coordinator for the Livingston Theater Company. And off campus, I recently interned at Little Kids Rock, which is a nonprofit music education organization headquartered right here in New Jersey.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Kira. And now you'll also have the opportunity to hear from Sarah. Sarah?
Thanks, Brandon. So hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm a junior in the Rutgers Business School. I'm majoring in finance and minoring in political science. I'm originally from Markstown, New Jersey. So North Jersey, Taylorham is where it's at. Me and Nat actually have this debate all the time. I lived on College Avenue as well, my first year in a traditional residence hall, and then my second 2 years in an off-campus apartment. For my involvement, I'm really involved in the Rutgers Performing Dance Company. I'm also super involved in the business school. So I'm a business school ambassador where I work in the undergraduate department there. I am also part of Women Build, which is a women's business leadership organizational development program. And I'm also part of the Rutgers Institute for Corporate Social Innovation on their student advisory board, which is all about incorporating, corporate social responsibility with businesses. So that's been a really awesome experience as well. This summer, I'll be interning at KPMG in their advisory department.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'll go over some logistics of the program before we begin the presentation. All right. So as I was saying, you did have the opportunity to meet all of us. You heard a little bit more about our background. the way the program's going to work is that you'll have a short presentation given by myself and Kristen. If at any point during the presentation you do have a question, you'll be able to ask your question in the Q&A feature on your Zoom today. So on your Zoom, there are a few features that you'll have access to. The most important is the Q&A feature. Using the Q&A feature, you can ask any question you have, whether it's about the presentation, whether it's about some of the bio information you found out on any of the people on the call today. Ask away. We are here to help you. We are here to really guide you through the process and teach you all about Rutgers and really just let you have some sort of an idea of what it's like to be a student here. After all, you all got admitted, which is super exciting. So you must be curious, what is it like to be a Rutgers student? So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to Kristen, and then we'll begin the program.
Thanks, Brandon. So we just want to start off by saying congratulations. You are part of an amazingly talented and impressive group of students that we've admitted so far this year. I want to point out two really quick statistics on the screen in front of you for students that have been admitted as first-year students to the university for fall of 2021. The average GPA as of right now of admitted students is a 3.97, incredibly impressive. And I know that we have a transfer student on our call as well. The average GPA for transfer students admitted to the university for fall of 2021 is 3.63. Again, incredibly impressive group. And what we hope from this call today is that you can learn more about Rutgers, ask questions, get those questions answered live. I'm going to be turning off my camera and questions. If you have any questions about your admission status, any questions about scholarship or financial aid, put them in the Q&A and I'd be happy to address them. If I can't answer them during the call, I will provide my contact information, my email address for you to reach out to me after the call. But I do want to say congratulations. We hope that by the end of this hour, you are going to love Rutgers as much as we love Rutgers. So with that being said, I'm going to turn things back over to Brandon.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. So as Kristen was saying, whether your question is about something admissions related or the school of itself, in and of itself, go ahead and ask in the Q&A. I promise you we'll be able to help you find an answer to your question. So now let's go ahead and just begin the presentation. And I really hope that one of the biggest takeaways or one of the main themes that you notice throughout the presentation is possibility and opportunity. When you come to school here at Rutgers, you will have so many opportunities to take advantage of. And so the possibilities for who you become, the growth that you experience really are endless. Now, obviously you're coming to school and one of the most important factors will definitely be your education, your academics. What are you here to learn? What are you going to study? How will that help support you get to that next step in life? So as you know, there are a few different first-year schools that you were able to apply into. I'm not going to list them all. You see them on your screen here. But just know that regardless of what first-year school you're a part of, you really do have some flexibility in what you want to learn. Now, for example, if you're in the School of Arts and Sciences, you could study anything from economics to psychology to Latin and Caribbean studies. You have so many different choices within that school to choose from. Likewise, if you're a member of the Rutgers Business School, you could study accounting or finance or supply chain. As a student here, there are over 120 different majors. And as I was saying, you can choose from the majors within your specific undergraduate school. But let's say you're interested in something like social work, which is offered in our upper division school. If you are interested in going to one of our upper division schools, you'll have the opportunity to apply into them starting your sophomore year. So even if you're interested in communication, social work, human resources, those majors are still available to you. Now, let's say you're in the School of Arts and Sciences and you decide that the business school is where you want to go. You really want to become a finance major. That's okay. You can still apply for a school-to-school transfer once you're in Rutgers, and you'll have the ability to move to and from your different undergraduate schools. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat, meaning that you do have to probably have some sort of prerequisites finished before you're able to do that school-to-school transfer. But know that the opportunity is there for you if that is something you're interested in. If you have any questions about the school-to-school transfer process, be sure to ask in the Q&A. We would absolutely love to clear that up. So when we talk about education, we're not just talking about majors. We're really talking about the classes that you're going to take. You don't just take the classes that are within your specific curriculum. You'll be able to take classes from a wide range of disciplines. One of my favorite stories to tell is that my first year, I took a class on forensic anthropology. As I said, I'm an economics major, but I absolutely love TV shows like Bones or CSI or even NCIS. My forensic anthropology class was just like that. We got to see real life crime scene photos from our professor who works for the state. It was so interesting, definitely made a mark, but I did realize I for sure will never become a detective. That field of work is not for me. Moral of the story, you can take whatever class you want and you'll really be able to expand upon the different things that you're learning throughout your education. Now, one of the things I really want to point out on the screen are the research opportunities as well. So beginning your very first year, you have the opportunity to participate in research. That's right. You do not have to be an upperclassman. You do not have to be a graduate student to participate in research. Research is welcomed and available to students on any level while they're here at Rutgers. Research is also not just for the STEM fields. And when I say STEM, I'm referring to science, technology, engineering, and math. Students in the humanities or students in the business fields also have the opportunity to partake in research. So if you do have any questions about research or maybe some of the different research opportunities that you've heard us talk about, be sure to ask in the Q&A. So as I continue along throughout the slides, you'll notice that this next slide very much so stays along with the theme of possibilities and opportunity. Now, I'm not going to hit every single one of these icons that you see on your screen, but I do want to talk about the different icons that mean the most to me, the different facts that have had the greatest impact on my career while at Rutgers. Starting off with there being 24 Division I NCAA sports. Now, you might be asking yourself, does Brandon really play a sport? Is he really that interested in sports? The answer is absolutely not. But what I am interested in is school spirit. And the reason I still share this is because one of the most impactful moments and the moments that I cherish most while I've been here at school have been going to the SHI Stadium on the weekend or going to the Rutgers Athletic Center during the week and cheering on the football and basketball teams. Those moments have meant so much to me and are definitely some of the memories that I'll carry when I leave Rutgers. So even if I don't participate in sports, athletics has still had an impact on my collegiate career. Now, we also have over 750 different clubs and organizations for students to choose from. So one of the best ways that you'll be able to make Rutgers your home is getting involved. You'll be able to find people that are interested in the same things that you are. You'll do that by signing up for clubs your very first year, by talking to your friends in your residence hall and finding out what they're involved in, and just finding the large variety of interest in clubs that we have to offer students any year that they're here, not just your first year. So we'll definitely talk about involvement in the Q&A and how to get involved. But if you do have any specific questions on involvement, be sure to ask. Now on your screen, you'll also see that we have over 100 different cultural organizations. And along with having so many different organizations for different cultures comes with my favorite fact about Rutgers, which is that we're the most diverse school in the Big Ten Conference. Now, I think a lot of us understand diversity and why it's important, but I really want to share why it's important for you as a student here. So because we're the most diverse school in the Big Ten Conference, I can promise you that no matter who you are, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what your culture is, or no matter what your interests are, you will find people here at Rutgers that are just like you. You'll be able to find your community. And through community and through finding others that share the same core values that you have, you'll be able to make Rutgers your home. Like I said, I'm an out-of-stater from Maryland, but Rutgers is my absolute home. I spend more time here in New Brunswick than I do back home in Baltimore, and it's because I've been able to find my community here, and diversity is just one of the ways that's impacted me while I've been a student. So I'm going to continue on throughout our slide deck. And if we're going to be extremely honest with each other, we're probably going to admit that the reason you're going to school is that you want to have a great job, and that's completely okay. I know I definitely want to get a high-paying job, and I was thankful enough to have a full-time offer by the time graduation hits. And so here at Rutgers, we have a few different support systems here to help you reach that next pathway to success. So I won't talk about everything that you're seeing on your screen here, but just know no matter who you are, no matter what you're studying, no matter what school you're a part of, there will be programs here to really make sure that no matter what your next step is, whether it's graduate school or entering the workforce, you are prepared. So we do have an Office of Career Exploration and Success for all of our students to utilize. And that office's main objective is to help students get to that next point in their lives, which is joining the workforce. So we have over 2 mega career internship fairs that happen each and every year. They've even been happening virtually. In these career fairs, hundreds of employers are coming on campus or they're logging in virtually to get Rutgers students. They're specifically recruiting Rutgers students because they understand the grit that you have because of the rigor of your academics, because of the experiences you've had here at Rutgers. You are qualified, you are wanted, and you're going to be recruited by plenty of different employers in plenty of different industries. Now we have an on-campus interviewing program where you don't have to travel to different cities to be able to find and have the opportunity to interview for your dream job. That can happen right here on campus. I know people that have interned and then had the opportunity to interview within one of our student centers and they were able to land their job. So it's definitely possible, and that's one of the great resources that Rutgers has, is that we can really bring people to you. You don't have to go search for others. Then we have the internship and co-op program, which is something that I'm participating in. So let's say you do land your dream internship and you want to work for your internship to gain lots of experience. You can do that during the school year and earn credit for it. So right now I'm in a co-op program where I'm earning 6 credits while working. So that means I don't have to take 2 classes my senior year, and I'm able to dedicate that to gaining more experience and really preparing myself to enter the workforce. If you're a part of the Rutgers Business School, you can have opportunities such as the Road to Wall Street or the Road to Silicon Valley programs, where they'll pair you with alumni to help you get situated and be able to network yourself in these larger areas like Wall Street or Silicon Valley. We have career cluster programs where you'll be able to be matched with other students who are in the same mindset and maybe want to join the same industry as yourself. So that's even for people that are interested in going into the medical field. There's a health professions cluster where the Office of Career Exploration and Success will help you reach that point of joining the medical field. And then going along with that, students that are interested in pursuing anything medically related do have the health professions office to rely on, where you can store documents and prepare yourself for your application process into medical school. I couldn't think of the word, but that office is specifically here to help you reach that next point of graduate school. So that's a great opportunity for any students that are interested in going into the medical field. No matter who you are and no matter what you study, like I was saying earlier, I promise you there's some pathway to success that Rutgers can support you on. On your screen, you're also noticing this map. I hope you realize as New Jerseyans that you're between 2 really big cities of New York City and Philadelphia, and that means a lot of great opportunity. So if you do have any questions on how we are able to utilize location as a great benefit as a Rutgers student, be sure to ask in the Q&A. So as I continue on, I'll let you read the facts on this page, but just know value, location, and rankings really help make Rutgers who it is. I promise you that as you learn why the students on the call, such as myself or Natalie, Kira, and Sarah, chose Rutgers and why we chose to stay at Rutgers, you'll really be able to hear how things like the return on our investment or the location of Rutgers have impacted us tremendously and are a big reason for why Rutgers was the best choice for us. So as we come to the end of the presentation, there are a few next steps that you should be aware of. Number 1, we really hope you accept your enrollment. Now, we understand Rutgers might not be the best school for every student, but I promise you, you'll find the support here, no matter who you are, to make Rutgers the best. So if you're interested in coming here, the very first thing that you need to do is accept your enrollment. One of the suggestions that I could give you is if you'd like, you can go ahead and take a screenshot or a picture of this page. Just save all of the great information that is on here. So after you accept your enrollment, you'll be able to pay your enrollment deposit. and then you will eventually be able to create your net ID and you'll gain access to your My Rutgers dashboard, which you'll see is listed as step 4. Now, if you're interested in maybe getting to know other students that have been admitted in the same year as you can go ahead and join Go Rutgers. Go Rutgers is another social media page specifically for Rutgers students. It's very similar to Facebook. We definitely want to encourage all students to attend open house. So open house is a great opportunity to learn more about Rutgers and especially learn more about your specific programs. Open house is going to be hosted virtually this year and taking place on April 10th. So you'll be able to find more information about it at rutgersondemand.com. Like I said, be sure to take a screenshot or a picture of this page to save all of this info. If you do have any further questions that maybe we can't get to during the presentation or you think of later on, you can always contact us. So you'll see the email questions@admissions.rutgers.edu where you can submit any question that you might have. But the best form of communication will definitely be going onto our live chats that are happening on our website Monday through Friday from 10 to 4. So if you go to admissions.newbrunswick.rutgers.edu, our live chats are staffed by ambassadors like myself. I promise you we'll be able to help find you the answer to the question or maybe one of the curiosities that you have about Rutgers. If we can't find the answer ourselves, we'll be able to direct someone to you to help you a little bit further. So I'm going to pause for one last second on this page so you can, again, take a screenshot or just take a picture of it. Perfect. And then another great plug that we definitely want to share with you is we want you to visit Rutgers, of course. Now, given the times, it's not possible for you to really do it in person, but you still have the opportunity to tour via one of our online tours that happen 3 days a week via Zoom, or you can download our Rutgers app. So we're gonna send the name of the Rutgers app that you can look up in either the App Store or in the Google Play Store in the chat. But just know that if you use our Rutgers app, you'll be able to have an ambassador, just like myself, give you tours of the very campuses that you'll be living and studying on. All right, so we're just about to head into the Q&A session, but I do just want to kind of recap what campus is like here at Rutgers New Brunswick. So if you didn't know, Rutgers New Brunswick is a 5-campus system. Now, each one of our campuses are self-sufficient, meaning they have their own residence halls, academic buildings, student centers, dining halls, recreation centers, so on and so forth. Theoretically, one student could spend all of their time on just one campus here, but that does not happen. As a student here at Rutgers New Brunswick, I promise you, you'll be traveling between all of the campuses. If you're curious to know what student life is like traveling between the campuses, be sure to ask in the Q&A. That's a great topic that we'd love to go over. Now, by no means do you have to live on the campus where you're taking classes. You really have the opportunity to shape your Rutgers experience however you want it to be. So let's say you want to separate the place where you are taking your classes and the location of your residence hall. You have every opportunity to do that. So the way it works is that you'll be able to fill out a housing application where you can rank your campus of preference, and we'll do our best to rank or to match your preference with your ranking. So to go a little bit more into depth about each one of our campuses, let's start out on the map. In the top left-hand corner, you have the Bush campus. Now the Bush campus is our STEM campus. Again, STEM being science, technology, engineering, and math. On the Bush campus, you'll find the School of Engineering as well as the Ernest Mario School of Pharmacy. Quite a few of the athletic facilities are also located on the Bush campus. As you cross Route 18, you'll find the Livingston campus. Now, the Livingston campus is my favorite campus. The Livingston campus happens to be the most modern or contemporary campus. When you first drive onto the Livingston campus, you'll find the Rutgers Business School, which is this big, beautiful glass transformer-looking building. It's absolutely wonderful. It's one of the reasons I love the Livingston campus. It's a great study spot as well. As you head further south down Route 18, you're going to find the College Avenue campus. Now, the College Avenue campus, for many people, is considered the hub campus of Rutgers New Brunswick, just because it's really where all of the history of Rutgers New Brunswick is located. If you weren't aware, Rutgers was founded before the United States was even founded. All of that rich history is located on College Avenue. In addition to being home to all of the history, College Avenue campus is also home to the School of Arts and Sciences, as well as quite a few of our upper division schools, such as the School of Communication and Information and the School of Social Work. As we head further south down Route 18, you'll find the Cook and the Douglas campuses. Now, Cook and Douglas are so close together that sometimes we do refer to them as one large campus, Cook Doug, but I promise you they are really two separate campuses. On the Douglas campus, you'll find the Mason Gross School of the Arts, so it's very much so an artsier campus. The Cook campus is our most royal of all 5 of our campuses. It is where the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences is homed. The Cook campus is also home to one of our Cook farm, or to our very own Cook farm. So as I was saying, you really do have the opportunity to live on any of the 5 campuses, to study on any of the 5 campuses. You really get to make the most out of your Rutgers experience, because instead of just having one campus to choose from, you have all 5. So that'll wrap up the presentation. Like I said, if you do have any questions about anything that I said, be sure to ask in the Q&A. But for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll turn it over to Natalie.
Thank you, Brandon. So once again, feel free to put any questions that you have in the Q&A. Just to quickly reintroduce you to our panelists. Sarah is a student in the Rutgers Business School, and Kira studies in Mason Gross School of the Arts. So if you have any questions specifically for those schools or about those disciplines, feel free to flag either one of them, and I can make sure that I give them that question. But starting off, I think a good first question is starting with Kira. What were you looking for when you were going through your college selection?
Sure. So as a music major planning to enter the performing arts industry, a big thing for me was location. It was really important to me to be close to a major city with a large performing arts history, for 2 reasons. One, for my own pre-professional experiences, but also so I could study from professors who had careers in these thriving cities. And Rutgers offered the best of both worlds in terms of that. Without being in like the heart of a really busy city and being like overwhelmed with the hustle and bustle of everything, I still have very easy access to both Philadelphia and New York City, which is really awesome because I've been able to attend performances and auditions in those really awesome cities. And I also have professors who perform in top performing arts organizations in those cities as well. So the location was definitely a huge plus for me. And also the fact that I'd have the opportunity to get involved with so many things outside of my major here at Rutgers. As much as I love music and I love my music major, I had a lot of passions outside of that. And because Rutgers offers so many different clubs and organizations and minor programs, I've been able to study and get involved with a lot of things outside of my major as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Kira. Sarah?
So I think when I was originally looking for and deciding on what college I wanted to go to, there were kind of 2 areas of interest. I either wanted to go like the business school path and major in finance, or I really enjoyed history and social studies in class. So I was thinking maybe, political science. And at Rutgers, I was really given the opportunity to do both with really great programs. I mean, every day, whether it's with my political science minor or my finance major, I'm getting constant emails about different opportunities and to apply to, or Zoom webinars that I can log on to help develop myself. So that was definitely one thing that drew me to Rutgers and, where my academics were. But the other factors in deciding for Rutgers were I really wanted a big school because I felt like you could always make a big school feel small, which is super easy at Rutgers with all the different communities we have. And so that was really important to me. As Kira mentioned, the proximity to both New York City and Philadelphia is unbeatable. It's one of my favorite parts about being on campus. And then I also just love the school spirit at Rutgers. There's such a pride in being a Rutgers student. And I think whenever you're there on game day, or if you can go to a basketball game, you really feel that. So definitely those were the main parts in my decision.
Awesome. Thank you. So both of you are very, very involved on campus. You had a long introduction with lots of student works. So Kira, would you mind telling me a bit about how you got involved on campus?
Sure. So for me personally, some of my campus involvement came just from talking to other upperclassmen in my in the Mason Gross School of the Arts. From talking to other students, I learned about Mason Gross student government, and I was actually very easily able to get in contact with them on the Get Involved website, which is a website that lists all of Rutgers student organizations and their contact information. So I was able to actually find out they had an opening that way, and that was how I got involved there. So it was really just like word of mouth, talking to other students. And there's also something called the Involvement Fair, held at the beginning of every school year, which is basically a massive club fair where all of the student organizations come out with these tables and presentations, and they just are there to share their club and their passion with students who are interested in joining. And you can visit every single table if you want, or you can kind of look at the map and target specific organizations. I distinctly remember during my first year, the Livingston Theater Company performed at the Involvement Fair. And even though I was studying classical music, musical theater is also one of my really big interests. And when I learned that there was student run musical theater on campus, I found out the date and time of the interest meeting, and I just went, which is how I think getting involved happens for a lot of people. Interest meetings during like those first 2 or 3 weeks of the semester, you can just show up, and if you like it, you can keep going, and if you don't have to go again. So it's this really like low commitment way to just explore different stuff that campus has to offer.
Definitely. And as Sarah had mentioned before, getting involved and joining these student organizations is one of the many ways that we make our big campus smaller, and so that you can be in a smaller, more tight-knit communities. But going along with that, Jordan is asking, knowing how large our campus is it hard to get around? How do you get around, and can it be overwhelming? And I will ask that to Sarah.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, how big Rutgers is one of my favorite parts because you're never going to be bored on campus. It'll never be the same day twice. So what we use is primarily the bus system to get from campus to campus. So for example, I'm a business school student, so the majority of my classes are on Livingston campus, but I chose to live on College Avenue. I prefer the urban vibe, and I liked keeping my school and academics separate from where I lived, and maybe hung out with my friends and did my relaxing. So that was kind of my mindset for that. But how do we get around? So we use the bus system. So there are 9 direct bus routes between campuses. They run between 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. the next day. So they're running basically the whole day, and you can keep track of them based on your app. So every student has there's 2 apps, honestly. There's the Rutgers app, and then there's like a Translock app, which is maybe a bit more detailed. I usually just use the Rutgers app, and it tells you to the second when the buses are coming, what stops are on the bus, so and where exactly they'll be going. So for example, there's multiple stops on every campus. The buses will come, and you can get on and off as you please. And you can also time it exactly. Like I had fun trying to time exactly when to leave my residence hall to make the bus exactly on time. So that's a little bit about how we get around, and it is made super easy based off of like having the app there, and also everyone's super helpful. So okay, like Livingston to College Avenue, that's the LX bus, which is pretty easy to remember, the Livingston Express. So everything's kind of helpful. On the weekends, there's also the bus system running 24 hours. And then during the week and the times, let's say you're studying late on a different campus and need to get back to your home campus. We also have something called the Night Mover, which is basically your own personal Rutgers Uber system, where you just call the number and you tell them where you are, where you want to go, and they'll bring you there free of charge. So definitely very easy to get around campus. And I think, yes, it can be overwhelming at first, but it's overwhelming in the best way possible because you just feel like there's so many things to do, so many places to go. Like I remember some of my favorite times on the weekend was like heading to Cook campus and eating at Harvest, and like going to the smoothie bar with my friend, just because it was like a new thing to do and a new place to explore. So it doesn't take long to get the hang of it, and there's plenty of resources to assist you, and it turns out to be one of the best parts about Rutgers.
Thanks, Sarah. And you brought up some things about dining, which we will certainly get to later. That is one of my favorite topics to discuss. But before we get to that, we talked about how you get around campus. And of course, we use our bus system, but you're also going to have a home base on campus. You may decide to live on campus. So we have one question asking if all freshmen live on the same campus. And no, you can opt to live on whichever campus you choose speaks best to your vibe. If Kira, you could tell us a little bit more about the housing application and the different housing options that are available.
Sure. So in terms of living on campus here at Rutgers, as we have our 5 different campuses, freshmen are welcome to choose to live on whichever campus they'd like. Like Brendan mentioned earlier before, we have something called the housing application, which you get access to after you enroll. And basically what happens is you are asked to rank your preference in terms of which campus you'd like to live on the most. So For example, if you're really interested in living on the College Avenue campus, you can just indicate that and then you rank them 1 through 5. And you almost always will get your first or second choice. And in addition, on that housing application, you can indicate if you already know who you want to live with in terms of your roommate, and you could put their name on the application, or you can ask to be randomly matched with a roommate, in which case you'll get a sort of questionnaire asking about your living preferences and things like that. So it's pretty straightforward. That's also why we encourage students, if you don't come on a tour, to at least come and check out campus in person by yourself so you can get a feel of what all the campuses are like. They are their own little neighborhoods with kind of different vibes to them. So it's really helpful if you can kind of get a sense of that yourself before you write down your preferred campus to live on. Oops. Oh gosh, I just clicked something. Sorry about that. I just clicked something in the Q&A, but so it's fairly easy to make that decision. And then during your first year, you would live in a typical first year residence hall where you would have a roommate, and it would just be you and your one roommate, the two of you living in a room. You know, you all have you have your own set of furniture and a desk and everything like that. And depending on which residence hall you're in, it'll either be co-ed on the floor, so your neighbors will be of either sex, or the floor will be a single sex. You can also indicate on your housing application if you have a preference either way. We also have a number of living learning communities that you can indicate interest in as well. Personally, I was living in the Honors College my freshman year, which is considered a living learning community, but it is invite only. But if you're interested in, for example, the law, I believe there's a living learning community for students interested in studying law, for example. So you can indicate that you'd be interested in living there. There's many different living learning communities available based on either like cultural groups or academic interests. So if you're looking to get connected with people with similar interests as you and live with them in the same floor, you can indicate that as well on your housing application.
Thank you, Kira. I think that told everyone everything that they need to know about housing, which is fantastic. So next, we're going to be moving into my favorite topic, which is food. Starting with Sarah, could you share what your favorite dining hall is? I think you might have already mentioned it, but maybe like some specific options of that dining hall, and then where you like to eat at other places that aren't necessarily dining halls.
Yes, of course. So I actually had one of my first year, we have first year interest group seminars and burn seminars, which are 1 credit pass or no credit seminars that first year students can take. And I actually took one with a nutritionist for Rutgers Dining Services. And the whole point of the class was to travel around to different Rutgers dining options and see how like the layout of them, the menu, the lighting, where everything was placed, how that affected our ability to like make healthy eating decisions. So because of that, I went to a lot of the different dining options and I know them pretty well. I would say my favorite dining hall, so there's one on every campus, would be the Livingston Dining Hall. So every dining hall is going to have your standard options. They'll have, a salad bar, a deli station, a stir fry station, a pizza bar, a sandwich making bar. I think I just said deli, so that's the same thing. But and they also have like a hot entree bar. But what's special about the Livingston Dining Hall is they also have a burger bar. And I am a sucker for a good burger. So that is my favorite one. I know a lot of people like the Bush Student Center because they have a sushi bar. Brower, which is the College Avenue Dining Hall, has 16 different flavors of ice cream. So whatever you like, you can definitely find a dining hall that'll be your favorite and will have what you like. There's tons of options, and they're also super accommodating with allergies. For example, I can't eat gluten, so I would just text in my order beforehand and they would make it special for me. So super accommodating with that as well. My favorite place to eat besides dining hall, so we have 2 really great options for students. So you have other options that will accept meal swipes. So for me, my staple was Kilmer's Market. This was on the Livingston campus. So it was perfect for me to grab a salad and eat my lunch right in the business school. It's like a 2-minute walk from there and they accept a meal swipe. So if you don't want one of the items that maybe a dining hall has, there's tons of different markets or cafes around all the campuses that you can eat at. And then there's also off-campus options that will accept our RU Express, which is basically like a Rutgers debit card system, or you can just pay it with like normal money. And for me, my favorite places would have to be at the Yard, and it's Honeygrow. Honeygrow would take all my money, and that's why I'm working. And it's like a stir fry option. So there's tons of different places to eat on campus. You'll definitely find one that you like the best.
Thanks, Sierra. Thanks, Sarah. I combined your two names. I said Sierra. Kira, would you like to share your favorite dining hall and off-campus place?
Yeah. So like Sarah mentioned, all the different dining halls kind of have unique options to them. Um, Brower Commons, which is the College Avenue dining hall, is definitely close to my heart, especially since I spent 2 years living on the College Avenue campus. They also have, as Sarah mentioned, the 16 different flavors of ice cream, which one day after a rough exam, I decided I was going to try every flavor. I have not done that since. I was feeling very adventurous that day, but you totally can if you want to. And the flavors kind of rotate out in it every day. So you can check the menu on your phone on the Rutgers app before you go to see what's being offered. So that's one of the reasons I really loved Brower. But of course, I love sushi, so if I ever found myself on the Bush campus, I would stop at the Bush Dining Hall. Nielsen Dining Hall is very close to Mason Gross, which is where I take a lot of my classes. So if I was rushing between class to grab a bite to eat, I would sometimes get takeout there. In terms of off campus dining, that's been something I've been exploring a lot now, especially since I'm currently living off campus. One of my favorite spots is Stuff Your Face, which is located on Easton Avenue. Easton Ave is a street behind College Avenue, and there are so many food options on Easton Avenue. I still haven't made a dent in trying all of them. But Stuff Your Face is definitely a Rutgers classic, has strombolis and lots of really great Italian food. So I definitely recommend it if you are ever near campus and want to try something that you haven't had before. And right next door to Stuff Your Face is again more ice cream. Thomas Sweet, which is another Rutgers classic. They really support the Rutgers community, and they have really awesome flavors of ice cream that they make there every day. So another really great spot that I frequent, especially after a long week and I just need a treat to myself.
Awesome. Maybe I'll have to go and try all of the flavors at Thomas Sweet as well as at Brower after an exam one time. Okay, moving on to talk a bit more about our academics and professionalism for building yourself up professionally before entering the workforce. Sarah, I know you have an upcoming internship. Would you mind speaking a bit about how you utilize some of the Rutgers resources to help you guide through that internship process, and just any tips you would like to share?
Yes, of course. So I think the Rutgers Business School does a really great job in preparing you for internships. So for example, I took a course called Business Forum, where it's basically all about building kind of like your business knowledge and etiquette. So you learn how to do an elevator pitch, you learn how to speak with companies at career fairs, you build your resume, you practice doing cover letters, all of that prepares you for getting internships and jobs. It's all covered in a required course. So that was super helpful. In addition to that, we have our tons of companies that come in frequently, and they just are there to speak to the students, tell them about their programs, and what opportunities are available. And the Rutgers Office of Career Services is right there to support you, and they have resume reviews all the time. So there's tons of different opportunities always happening at Rutgers. From my experience personally, I actually attended an info session hosted by the firm that I'll have my internship at. And I was just listening, and I honestly just signed up because I got the email and I was like, oh, why not? I'll just see what it's about. I didn't really have any interest. And then the more I got to know, I realized it was really a great combination between kind of my interest in law and politics, and my interest in business, as it's a business consulting compliance internship. So I was really excited about it by the time I left. And then I just had to apply through the school's application portal. So Rutgers has two portals. Well, the business school has their own one, Business Night, but Handshake is a school-wide platform that matches students with on-campus jobs, internships, co-op opportunities. So there's so many different job opportunities that are available on Handshake, and it's special to Rutgers students. So I applied through there. A few days later, I got an email that I got an interview, went through the interview process, I was very prepared for, thanks to the Rutgers Business School. And then a few days after that, I got a call with the offer. So it was a very simple process, and I feel super lucky that the business school prepared me so well for it.
Thanks, Sarah, and congratulations. I'm so excited to see what you accomplished this summer. And in addition to our Rutgers provided affiliated resources, Rutgers also has plenty of professional student organizations that you can get involved in. So that's like peer aid. I'm involved in a professional fraternity that has helped me so much with interview prep and totally redid my resume to much better appeal to recruiters. So there are a ton of ways to better yourself professionally while you're still working on your coursework as well. Kira, Jordan is asking about our classes and how they, since we are a large university, are they on the bigger side, and how do we not get lost in some larger classes?
That's a great question. Coming into Rutgers, I had no idea what to expect as far as class size because I was entering a very small professional school. So, but what I've learned since I've gotten here is that no matter what size your class is in, the level of support is always very high. We do have some very large lecture classes for some of our more popular classes that are required by a lot of majors, such as a 100 level psychology class or a beginning biology class, things like that. If you do find yourself in one of those large lecture classes, it's usually only during your first or second year while you're still taking exploratory courses, and they are always accompanied by a recitation, which is something that is built into the schedule for the class. And it's basically a 1 hour long study session that accompanies the lecture. So you're broken down into a smaller group of about 10 to 20 students from your lecture, and you are essentially led through a review session of material from the lecture that week. So for example, I took a 100 level statistics course during my first year, and once a week we had a recitation with a graduate assistant who kind of just went over the material again in more detailed terms and also helped us prepare for exams. So that's something that's automatically provided to you if you're in a large lecture course and really makes the size of the class a lot less overwhelming. Another really great resource, no matter what size your class is, is that all professors are required to hold office hours every week for their students. So even in some of my smaller music classes that only had 15 people in them, I often found myself going into office hours to maybe just ask about more information about the material. Sometimes I had questions that weren't even necessarily connected to the class, but I would go with questions about research or job opportunities. So it's a really great way to connect with your professors, whether it's about academics or professional work. So no matter what size your class is, you can also connect to your professors that way. But in general, as far as getting registered for classes and signing up for the classes you're interested in, we do all of our class registration online. Your first semester, the class registration is done for you, which really takes a lot of stress and pressure away because you don't have to worry about figuring out your curriculum or the requirements or prerequisites. The advisors are really great about making sure you fill prerequisites during that first semester. And then after that, you do all the scheduling on your own. It's really great because, for example, I learned during my first year that I really prefer morning classes. I find that by the time dinner time rolls around, my brain is kind of winding down and I really can't retain material as well, which is really great because I was able to accommodate my own schedule. And when I registered, I only registered for morning classes, which made my days a lot easier. So you always have the option of, especially if there's multiple sections offered, of signing up for the classes you want. The web registration system is very organized. It tells you when to register, and you can just go through and click off the classes you want. If you're unsure about what classes to take, which often also happens to me, you can meet with an advisor and they'll really break it down for you and say, these are the classes you've taken, these are the classes that are left. So in general, there's a lot of resources to help you kind of navigate and determine what classes you want to take. And if you ever have questions, advisors are always there to help.
Thanks so much, Kira. We have about 8 minutes remaining in our session, so we're going to start wrapping up and asking more general questions to our panelists. Feel free to ask any last-minute questions in the Q&A, and we can write written responses to you. But one of the questions that we always love to ask is why our panelists decided to stay at Rutgers. So we previously heard how their college selection experience led them to Rutgers, but even if you decide to come here, not wherever you go to college, you don't have to stay. So why did you guys decide to stay here at Rutgers? What about your experience kept you here? Starting with Sarah.
So I think one of the reasons why I chose to stay is because of the people here. I find that the people here are so supportive and everyone's so smart and inspiring. They're all doing great things, but everyone's doing it in a very collaborative way that just really motivates you. And I just felt that from my peers to my professors to any advisors, it's such a supportive community. And I think it's that support and that kind of like instilling confidence in other people that makes it really easy for Rutgers to feel like home. So that's why I choose to stay.
Kira?
I think the reason that I've always chosen to stay at Rutgers is because of the learning environment is very unique. We're a huge research university with several small professional programs and things like that. So, for example, I'm in a small professional music program within this large research university. So, I've had the chance to really explore things outside of my major and kind of bring it in to inform my career choices. So, the opportunity, I guess, to take unique coursework outside of my major and really explore things that aren't necessarily part of my normal curriculum has made the learning experience here really unique and has been part of the reason I choose to stay every year.
I'll also jump in on this one. So growing up in New Jersey, I didn't ever give Rutgers much of a look when I was growing up. For some reason, I thought that if I went to a state school, I would be with just people from my high school. It wouldn't be any bit of a change. And I kind of discredited it. And that is one of my biggest regrets still to this day. Coming to Rutgers has been the best decision I've ever made in my life, which is sappy, but it is true. The people that I have met here are from all different walks of life, despite some of us being from in-state, and we don't really live geographically that far from each other. We all have such vastly different backgrounds. And even our experience here is so dramatically different. Kira and I take totally different courses, but it's still so fun to talk to her. She's one of my very good friends. And I have met some of the most supportive people, both in my peers and in the faculty that I've come in contact with that want to better me as a person, but also as a student and a professional. So I hope that if any of you in the audience are also maybe New Jersey residents that didn't give Rutgers a look before, I definitely encourage you to, because I found everything that I was looking for at this university. So our last question, we love to wrap up with, is about our Rucket list. So the Rucket list is our Rutgers bucket list. It is one experience or event that all of us would like to have before graduating Rutgers. So I can go first. Before I graduate, I really want to go in every building on the Rutgers campus. Rutgers is such a massive campus. In fact, I don't even spend as much time on the Cook and Douglas campuses as I would like to. And that's an entire campus, not even talking about specific buildings that I haven't been in. So before I leave, would like to just ride maybe the weekend one on a loop around and go in every single building and look around, because there's so much to see and I don't want to miss out on it. And we'll go on to Sarah, please.
So one of my favorite things to do at Rutgers is go to the Rutgers basketball games. Unfortunately, with COVID, that's changed a bit this year, but last year, Rutgers only lost one game at the RAC because it is such an electric atmosphere. The way the building's built, it traps in all the noise. It's so loud. I think our record was like 18-1 last year at home. And it's such a great atmosphere. I always leave like the biggest high after those games. And so on my bucket list is to attend a game. Might not be at the RAC depending on where it is, but to attend a Rutgers basketball game when they're in the national tournament. March Madness has always been a thing in my family. I always have to fill out a bracket. And I think I was looking forward to that 2 years ago or last year, and the tournament got canceled. So it's definitely on my bucket list that during my time at Rutgers, I see a Rutgers basketball game in the tournament.
Me too, Sarah. Kira?
So luckily I've been able to, during my 3 years, cross off a lot of my bucket list items. I've been a part of Dance Marathon. I've actually done, Natalie, I have done a weekend loop of all of the campuses. I even ate at the Bush Dining Hall for the first time during my little weekend loop. But one thing that I have not tried yet is the infamous fat sandwich at Are You Hungry? I know. Everyone's always shocked when I say that. Are You Hungry is one of our like staple food locations at Rutgers. It used to be a food truck that my parents even visited when they went to Rutgers, and now it's like a standing location at the Yard on College Avenue. And the fat sandwich is basically what it sounds like. It's this massive sandwich that could like feed like a family of 5. And there's a popular bucket list item where you finish one all by yourself. I've honestly just been so overwhelmed that whenever I go to Are You Hungry, I just get something else because I never feel like I can take on the challenge of finishing one. But I definitely want to try it before I leave Rutgers. Maybe one day I'll skip breakfast and have one. But that's definitely high on my list.
Here, the fat Daryl's where it's at.
Oh, I like the Fat brand, but Fat Daryl's also good. Brandon, would you like to share an item on your bucket list?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Fat Cat, if I get to have my input there. But as you guys know, Rutgers has been at the forefront of so many scientific discoveries. Okay, they made such an impact when it came to tuberculosis. They've been at the forefront for COVID-19 in terms of testing. But the one scientific discovery that I've yet to be involved with or try is the Rutgers tomato. I want to have a Rutgers tomato from the Rutgers Gardens. It's on my bucket list. It'll definitely happen.
Thanks, Brandon. That is not one that I've heard before, and a really good suggestion. And I definitely need to do that as well. Do they serve them at the Cook Cafe or at Harvest? I feel like they must.
They have to, but I've never seen any tomatoes specifically identified as the Rutgers tomato. So I'll get it eventually.
Yeah, they just need to lay that out on the menu. Then it doesn't matter what else is on the sandwich. I would still order that. Well, everyone, that about wraps up our programming today. We thank you so much for joining us. We also encourage you to join us at any of our other programming. We have quite a few other virtual program options currently. If you would like a more in-depth look into our campus, you can join one of our virtual tours. That is like this, a live Zoom webinar with some of our Scarlet ambassadors as your tour guides. You could also download that app that Brandon was speaking about previously to do a tour guided at home with our Scarlet ambassadors narrating. And you can also join any of our other info sessions. Anything that is on our Visit Rutgers page, feel free to join us at any of that programming. Thank you all so much for joining us. After this program, you will be given a survey to tell us how we did today. So if you liked this program, we are Natalie, Kristen, Kira, Brandon, and Sarah. If you didn't, then we are all named Cole. So thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon, and we hope to see you on campus soon. Bye.